Working in correctional settings presents a number of challenges to sign language interpreters. According to the RID Standard Practice paper on legal interpreting, the first responsibility of an interpreter is self-assessment, or to determine whether he or she is qualified for the assignment. Interpreters should be aware that the correctional setting often requires legal interpreting for routine activities such as disciplinary hearings, parole board hearings, and classification hearings. A classification hearing is a placement meeting in which a deaf offender is assigned a cell block and custody status regarding the level of privileges he can exercise. For example, this influences the kind of job he is eligible for and whether he can participate in education. Due process, or the offender's reasonable understanding and active participation in these decisions, is an important aspect of an interpreter's role. In general, legal hearings in the correctional environment will be executed at a rapid pace and contain sophisticated legal vocabulary. An estimated 20% of deaf inmates have language issues such as minimal language skills. That is, limited proficiency in sign and spoken languages, or immigrant status. Their first language is neither American Sign Language or English. The specific nature of the assignment and the language use of the consumer are essential data that the correctional worker scheduling your services often cannot provide without extensive prompting and perhaps even a return phone call after he or she has investigated the situation in more detail. After an interpreter has decided to accept a legal interpreting assignment in a correctional setting per RID standards, his or her next task is to facilitate communication accurately and impartially between an offender and an official. This often requires substantially more effort by interpreters than arriving 15 minutes prior to the assignment, visiting casually with the offender to determine language use, and proceeding using the language most readily understood by the offender. To set the stage to perform an accurate and impartial interpretation, interpreters must frequently engage in self-advocacy and advocacy for the profession. Self-advocacy refers to the conditions or accommodations that an interpreter needs to perform his or her duties in any given situation. In a prison setting, this can include, but is not limited to, advanced knowledge about the language use of the offender, asking to have an offender's handcuffs removed, prior study or review of the procedures and policies used by a facility, and requesting additional time to explain written materials requiring the offender's signature.